Hello everyone, welcome back to the CodeIsha Training Center. So today we will discuss about the HTML forms introductions in HTML 30 days series. Okay, so we are at day 9 today class. Okay, so let's see what is the HTML forms and what are the forms and the which type of forms we can use and the what is the process to add the forms and the which tag we need to use the forms and anything attributes and the actions and the methods whatever we have we need to learn in this session. Okay, so let's get into these slides. So coming to the agenda is what are HTML forms, okay, and why forms are important in HTML, okay, and basic structure of the form, and also we are discuss about the common forms elements, and also we'll discuss about the input types overview, okay, and also labels and accessibility, and also form submission basics also, okay, and final we are mini practice also going whatever whatever today topic, okay, and final one will take the summary also. Okay, so let's get into these slides. So coming to the form, so an HTML form is used to collect the user data. Okay, so an input can be like we have the text, numbers, emails, selections, etc. Okay, and forms are widely used in login pages and sign up pages or surveys also. Okay, so let's assume that here, so where we can use those forms, we can use these forms like login pages and sign up pages and also for surveys, right? So here what happens when we have the login page, let's take the login page. Okay, so login page we have the two or three fields, right, like input types, right? So whether it is mail or whether it is name and whether it is location or gender or contact, right? So let's take three fields like name, email address and the phone number. Okay, so when that end user or customer visit our website, okay, so we need to know about which person are login, and we need to know their personal details also, like something not deep and personal things, just contact number and the name and the email address. So here, so when that end user coming, right, and they need to enter the data, because of we need those data, right? So which person are visiting our website, or which person is it person or is it hacker, anything happenings. Okay, so we'll check for this, we need to use the forms. Okay, forms nothing here, we use the login pages. So login pages like credentials, right? So nothing but like personal data. So in that personal data, once the enters the those data, where we can store that, we can store that into the databases, right? So we cannot directly store the database, we cannot store these data into the directly databases, right? So we need to have this some form. Okay, so for that we use this form in the HTML, okay, for the web page, sorry, in web page for the login or sign up or any surveys are going. Okay, so this is a simple thing, what is a form where we can use. Okay, what is the purpose? Okay, so up to here everything, right? And coming to the why forms are important. Okay, let's check. So these forms are collects the user data, okay, and it enables the user interactions. Okay, so for example, let's take Spotify. Okay, so when we have this Spotify applications, we cannot use those music, sorry, we cannot listen to those music without any login or sign up credentials, right? So because they have to any interactions in the apps, like anything they need, like listen the music or sorry, download the music, or like any need in that app, they need to give the personal data, nothing but login credentials. Okay, so for that we can use these forms, like collect the user data, enables the user interactions. Okay, and here the user in where we can use login systems, registration forms and feedbacks and search bots. Okay, so this is a simple thing. And here the basic structure of your form. Okay, when we need to add that form on the web page, we need to add first form tag. Okay, so inside the form tag, whatever our needs like fields like name and the email address or password or date of birth or any gender or location or any other related data, we need to add inside the form, okay, with the tags. Okay, so form is a container for all inputs. Okay, as of now said, right, like name, email address, password, these are all inputs. Okay, so where we need to add those input fields inside the form. Okay, because end user comes that visit that form, they need to enter the values. Okay, so when we need enter the values, what we need to do, inputs, right? So input tags, so everything inside it is submitted together. Okay, and coming to the next, here's the form attributes and the input elements. Okay, let's see what are those attributes and what are the input elements have in the HTML. So coming to the attributes, like actions nothing but where data is sent. Okay, and method, so how data is sent, whether it is get or post. Okay, so here the simple syntax about that. Okay, so first we are declared the form tag, right? So inside form self opening tag, we need to add the action attributes and the method attribute. Okay, so coming to the action means like when that user click on the submit button, where we can store that data, we need to store into the databases, right? So here the going action, right? So because when I click on that end user, so those data into save into the databases. So when these process are going, we need to add the actions. So where we can store these data, database. So what we need to do, action, here going to the action. So for that we need to add the action specific location. Okay, so whether it is a MySQL database, whether it is Oracle database, or whether it is SQL database or any other related database you are using, you need to add here action. Okay, and coming to the method, so coming to the method, so what action here going, so whether it is insert, whether it is delete, or whether it is update, whether it is like retrieving the data. So here what method is going on, posting method. Posting method means insert, right? So when we post the, so for example, let's in Instagram we post the one photo. So what is here going on, create the new post, right? So for that we need to use the post or get methods. Okay, whatever a requirement. So action is what happening, like storing the data where we need to add those data, and method is coming to the, whether it is insert, whether it is fetching the data, or like retrieving the data, or whether it is delete. Okay, so based on the methods we need to add here. Okay, so up to here, okay, right? Form attributes. And coming to the input elements, so input is a most used form element. Okay, so input used to take different type of the user input. Okay, so let's take for example like we have the feedback form. Okay, so in that feedback, what we need to add, first name, last name, email address, and the contact, whatever the feedback comments. Okay, we need to add these five fields, right? So for that we need to different types of the input types, right? So name and the first name, last name, these are all these are all text. Okay, and coming to the email also text, and also we have the separate data type for this, that is email. Okay, and coming to the like phone number, so phone number, what is that number, right? Okay, so these are all different types of the input types. Okay, so let's see what are those things and how we can add those type of the based on our requirements. Okay, so here the tag is there. Okay, so that is the input tag. So inside that type we need to add the whatever our requirement. So type nothing but data type. Okay, so data type means what user entered in that input. Okay, so whether it is numbers, whether it is text, or whether it is password. Okay, so whether it is date, or whether it is like checkbox or any other related. Okay, so let's see more types we have in this slide. So let's go into the next slide. So here's the common and more input types. So coming to the text, so text, what we need, why we use that text data type for the text related input. Okay, and coming to the email, email means related to the email inputs, and the password, hidden text, so that is the password file. Okay. And number purpose numeric, like whether it is contact number, whether it is phone number, or whether it is any id related specific. Okay. So like we have the ids like other number and the any other related numbers, so we can enter in that number data type. Okay. And coming to the date, nothing but date of birth or any other related dates we can use, like created date, modified date, or deleted date. Okay. So that time we need to use this date data type. And coming to the C, and here the radio selection also there. Okay. Select one option when we use that radio type. Okay. And check boxes also there. Okay. So select multiple options, like whether it is this user is active or whether it is when he is modified, like this. We need to add the checkboxes based on our requirements. Okay. And here the submit like button, so when that click on that button, so these data into save into the database. So here are the actions. So for that we need to add the button and reset. So whatever we are done filling the data, and once that end user inserted, so that time we need to reset, means total clear in that fields values. Okay. And here the reset button also there. Okay. So these are all common input types. And coming to the labels, so labels defines the label for input. Okay. So it improves the accessibility and usability. And okay, so because, so let's take we are added the in the forms, we are added the input. Okay. So input is here the first I am going with the date type is text, and next one is going to the email address. So I am added these input values, input tags. Okay. So here once we are added that form into these two elements, right? So end user came visit that web page. Okay. So he is trying to enter the values. Okay. So he don't know whether it is enter the name and whether it is going to the email address. Okay. So for that we need to use the label means it shows the, so please customer, so whatever the end user came, so you need to enter here name values. Okay. And next one you need to enter here email address values. Next one you need to enter the password values. And next one you need to enter the date values. Okay. Next one you need to enter the number values, whether it is contact, whether it is fax number, or whether it's any related to the number tags. Okay. So that purpose we need to use the labels. Okay. And next one we need to know about the complete form example, how we can write those form tag, and inside that how we can add the input elements, and inside that for that input elements how we can add the labels. Okay. So let's see. So here the simple form going with the name element and email. Okay. And final one submit. Okay. So this is a simple thing. So let's see writing the piece of code for this form using how it looks. Okay. So let's back into the code editor. Let's open this and closing this one. Okay. Here I am going with the day 9 form, going with the day 9 forms. Okay. Let's save it. So inside body where we can add those content, so these are all content comes into the body, right? Body tag, right? So I am going with the form. Okay. So where we need to add those input elements, we need to add the inside the form. So I'm going with the input type, and I'm giving with the type equal to here text. Okay. And I'll take one more one, I'll take three. Okay. Here I'm going with the email. Okay. And here I'm going with the contact. Okay. So I'm save this one, and final one I'm adding the input button also, submit button. So let's, I'm taking with the button. submit. Okay, so let's save it this piece of code. Okay, click on the file and save as. So I'll remove this day 9 forms dot extension. Okay, so once it is done, let's save this and copy the save this one, and let's back into the folder and find out the day 9. So here the day 9, right? So let's close it and copy. Oops. Okay, so here's the it opens, right? So here's the one input, and here's the one input, and here's the second input. So see here the let's assume that we are the visitors here. So which data we need to enter, first box and the second box and the third box? We cannot know, right? So because why we are not showing any label or any names for these input values? Because we are not added the label. Okay, so let's try to add the labels. Okay, let's back into the code editor. Here I am going with the label. Okay, I'm going with the here name. Okay, let's save it and come back into the code editor. Let's refresh it. See, here's the label. So once end user came, so here's the name is there. So okay, we have to enter here, name the value. Okay, like tester or any other name like John. Okay, or pre. Okay, so like we can enter like this. Okay, so because why you are entering the easy here, because we have the label here, right? So we can enter in these values. Okay, and again we need to add the remaining two. Okay, so let's copy these things. I'm adding the one more label here, and here I'm adding the one more label, and here I'm giving the email address. Okay, and here I'm giving the contact number. Let's save this. Let's save this and back into the web page. Let's refresh it. See now how it is looks, like name and the email address and the contact. So we don't have any like one by one, right? Here the zigzags is there. So for that I'm going with the line break. Okay, so as of now simple things going. We need to add any styling or any like shadow boxes or boxes increase or decrease, and they change the text color, that label text color. So everything we can change inside the css. Okay, so as of now we are going with these simple things. Let's copy this line break and add this. Let's save this and back into the web page. Let's refresh it. See now how it looks. So name, here the enters the value, address enters the value, contact enter the value. So here here the very close, right? So I'll add the one more line break. Okay, I'm adding the here one more line break. Okay, let's save it and let's come back into the web page and let's refresh it. See now it is very good, right? So before things it very good, right? So here's name, and here the email address, and here the contact name, and here the submit. And we can also add the cancel button or reset button also based on our requirement. Okay, so sorry, I'm going with the here reset. Okay, okay, so let's save it and let's add the back and refresh it. See now submit and the rest button, sorry, reset button. Okay, So this is a simple form. Okay, and we are also add the more based on our requirement, like name, sorry, like date or check boxes or any other. So let's see, we are add the two more things. Copy this one. Okay, let's paste it here. So here I am going with the date of birth. Okay, date of birth. And here, sorry, here we need to give the number, so I forgot, so sorry for that. So here I'm going with the date. Okay, and here the I'm going with the active. Okay, so whether it is this user is active or not. Okay, so active, I'm going with the here checkbox. So I think, is it there checkbox there, but name, is it is right or not? Yes, checkbox is there. So let's save it this one, and let's come back into the web page and let's refresh. So as of now we have only three input elements. Now I'm added the two more, right? So what is that? Date, date of birth, date, and the checkbox. Let's refresh it. See, now it added date of birth. Okay, so we can choose here the date of birth whatever we have. Okay, and here the checkbox, so enable or disable. Okay, so this is a simple form about the like for the login pages or sign up pages, feedbacks, or any other related. Okay, so this is a simple form to add on our web page using the form tags inside the elements whatever our requirements, input elements. Okay, so up to everything okay, right? And so when user clicks submit, data is sent into the server. Okay, so once enter those data into the input fields, okay, input elements. So after that, click on the submit button. It total data store into the database whatever we are given the actions. Okay, based on the landing page, landing those data with help of the action. Okay, it will store into that. Okay, and control using the actions and the methods. Okay, so when action, nothing but location where we need to save those data, and the method, so whether it is get or delete or post. Okay, we need to define here. So these are all to control whatever these form. Okay, so up to okay, right? And coming to the get versus post. So get means data visible in url, use it for the search. Okay, means we need to get the data whatever given the data, so we need to get like retrieve or the fetch data, we need to use the get method. Okay, and coming to the post, so once we have the method, so data will be hidden. Okay, and it more secure and use it for the sensitive data. Okay, so it cannot shows because once enter the data, so those data into save into the our database, it won't shows the every visitors, every end user, right? So securely it stores into the our database with the data hidden, secure, and the sensitive data. Because of is that end user have the email address is a personal, and the name and the contact number, right? So these are all we cannot choose the every visitors and every hackers, right? Because we need to save these are all data into the our database. Because if that person will come next time, so we'll check whether it is right person or not person. Okay, so for that we need to use this post method to insert the new like record or new data. Okay, and coming to the here's the assignment based on today's topic. Okay, so let's try to create one simple form with the five elements, like four elements. So name and the email and the password, and final one submit button. Okay, so let's try to create these form using form tag, using the form tag and adding these three elements with the submit button. Okay, so let's see. So if you have the time, let's try to changes the stylings on the names and the input boxes and the button style. Okay, so and also try to add these related the data types also, like we have the checkbox, radio. Okay, and also we have the password. Okay, and any other related, let's try to add those types also. Okay, so here's a summary based on today. So forms collects the user data, and inside the html, so form is the main container. Okay, And input is the most important for the element, because of once we declare the form, we need to must and know about the elements also, because that end user know about the which field values, which input values you need to give for that. Okay. And different types of different input types serves the different purpose. Okay. Like coming to the take the contact number, so it will different purpose because of it stores the it accepts the numbers. Okay. And coming to the text, so it accepts the text values, whatever the text values. And coming to the email, so it accepts the email addresses. And coming to the password input, it accepts the password. Okay. So and coming to the date, and it accepts the date related things. Okay. So each input type, it purpose different different purpose. Okay. Each data type, input data type. And finally, thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you find this helpful for this video based on today's topic. And if anyone enthusiastic to learn Salesforce or any other software related like web development, like MySQL or Power BI, okay, so please contact us. We'll definitely help you, and we'll provide the uh, real-time projects. Okay. And we'll provide the placements assistance, and we'll provide the mock interviews. Okay. And final, we'll provide the resume preparation session also. Okay. And we are going with the placement assistance with the own our official site. Okay. So don't go into the like LinkedIn or Naukri. Okay. So we are uniquely providing the these job board thing. Okay. So you don't go any like Naukri and LinkedIn, just monitoring our official site into the careers tab, so you can find out the more job opportunities based on your requirement. Okay. So thank you everyone for watching this video.